Alright, this is Andrew with Joda Home Inspections. We're doing a sewer scope today here, March 25th, 2024. We're at 863 South, 3525 West. We have the camera pushed all the way out to the city connection, and now we're going to pull it back and record it and see what we find. So we're 131 feet out. I'm accessing the line in the basement, and so we made it all the way out to the city connection. This first connection point is called the nose-on. This is where it goes from your lateral line into the main city line, and it looks like a good connection there. Biggest thing with this line that you're going to notice pretty much right off the bat is that you have standing water. This line was incredibly flat. You always want your line to have proper grade to where it slopes from the house back out to the city connection. When it's flat like this, waste will have a much harder time working its way out to the city line. If you look on the screen at the kind of top left side of the line, you can see the buildup on the pipe. That's from water sitting in the line and then allowing waste to build up on the pipe. If you have proper grade, you typically don't have a lot of buildup in the line. And you can see kind of human waste sitting in the line where it's not reaching the line or the city line. It's just kind of sitting there, and then as enough water runs, it kind of pushes that waste out. But what can happen is it can get stuck in the line and create a blockage, and then it can back up into the house. So starting 125 feet out or so. And the other thing that I'll mention is that as I pushed my camera out, I was pushing through more water than what's here now. So there was a fair amount of, enough that it was covering my camera head basically the entire time. Now that I've pushed it through, it pushed some of that water out, and we probably moved around some of the waste, and so it's probably going to drain a little bit better than when I first pushed through it, but definitely not ideal. The only way to permanently fix bad grade is to dig it up and re-slope it. You can clean the line, and that can help. That'll help clean out all that gunk and build up. But the only way to fix the actual grade is to dig it up. So it seems like we're coming out of it about 100 feet. So honestly, there's still some standing water, which isn't great. Now we're going back underwater. I want to push forward a little bit to see if that was maybe a block. Okay, so there's an offset right there. So as I push my camera forward, I can feel a little lip on the pipe. And so that's a sign that the pipes have moved a little bit and you have an offset. And so then it's going to hold water before that offset. And then once it gets past it, it's going to drain normal for a minute before it hits the next belly.
Like an intentional offset, or?
I don't think so.
No, like it's...
I think it's like it's moved.
Yeah.
And I don't see a lot of offsets with plastic lines like these. I see a ton of offsets with clay, because with clay you have little 3 and 4 foot sections and they're not glued, so they just slip together. With PVC like this, you have 12 foot sections or more, and they're glued, and so they don't really separate the way that older lines did. So I don't know what caused that offset, but they can still separate a little bit and happen. I would definitely consider this to be one of the more important items with the inspection. So here's a joint. I mean, this one isn't offset, but when you have a joint like that separate and it moves around, that's what likely happened where I was hitting that lip in the line.
Yeah.
In some ways, I'd rather find an offset than bad grade, because with an offset you can do a spot repair and fix it, but if the entire line is rather flat like this one, there's not a good way to really address it without digging up the whole thing. So completely underwater here, so it's got to be at least an inch or so to cover my camera head.
How far out was that?
Right now we're 60 feet, and the line was 135. So I've cleaned my camera head off. So the other thing that's concerning is there's buildup on the entire pipe. A lot of times I'll see where you have a belly and you'll get, kind of a line a quarter of the way up, half the way up isn't great. The fact that this has buildup all the way up isn't a good sign. And some of this top stuff, that's just humidity, you know, stuff's just growing up there. But it's not good when the line is towards the middle of the pipe. So that's a sewer access point. That's outside, usually right outside the front porch. That's another spot that you could access the line, so that if you were having it cleaned or scoped, it's a cleaner way to do it outside.
So it looks like inside the house.
This looks good, yeah, which is great.
So
Whether it's in the yard. Can't dig up the house very well, right?
Not very easily. So this is ABS. This is a different type of plastic pipe. So just to recap, rather flat. There's also one offset. I would recommend having a drain specialist look at it, or look at my video and give you a quote to have it repaired. Really, cleaning it would help, but the best thing long term would be to improve the grade, which would mean digging it up. The only other thing that I could foresee is if the house sat too low, and that's why you had improper grade. It did look like you were dropping into the top of the city line, which is good. That means that you could drop it down a little bit further. I'm going to end this recording now.